Hi, I'm Vanessa Cosini, and I'm crazy for cult, but I'm also crazy for wolves. As many of my friends know, I'm a big wolf and werewolf fanatic. And I can already hear through the Ethernet them going, really? You don't say. Because, I don't talk about them all the time or anything like that. So basically, I decided the full moon's tomorrow, and it's a really special full moon. So I decided I needed a really special review where I just talk about werewolves because they're freaking awesome. That's why. I don't need a reason. No, I do. So tonight, I'm talking about Wolfblood. It's a great show in Britain done by Debbie Moon. So I kind of laughed when I was watching the very first, episode of it because I was like, watching the names go by. Just, I always get curious to see if I know anybody that's involved. And Debbie Moon was the writer. And I was like, that's so appropriate. So this is filmed in Britain on the CBBC channel, I believe. Not too terribly familiar with how they do their channels and networks and things of that nature. All I really know is BBC. But it did come to Disney Channel. So Disney Channel has aired the first season. It's also on Netflix. That's how I actually came across it. It's on Netflix, first season. It's actually in its third season right now, and it's fascinating. It's so good. I was like, oh, I'll check this out. I got nothing better to do. And I've now binged watched all the way to where it currently is in the show. And the newest episode is supposed to be tonight, but it hasn't gotten available to me yet. So a little bit about the show. It's centered around Maddie Smith. Madeline Smith is a young Wolfblood. They don't like the term werewolf. And normally it annoys me when a show decides we're going to reinvent the wheel and, oh no, we're not werewolves or Wolfbloods, or we're not, something, we're Fernleys. Every time they're like, we want to call it something new and different, even though there's a recognized term, I usually am not on board. But I don't know, this show just really took me. So I probably give it a little leeway on certain things. That it surprisingly didn't bother me. There's a few parts where they mention werewolves and they're like, we're Wolfbloods. That's what we are. End of. It's like they don't go into it. They don't go into why they're called Wolfbloods. And that's okay because we don't go into why we're called humans. Although I wish I was a Wolfblood. So Maddie Smith is, I can't quite tell what grade she's in, but I'm guessing she's around about 14, 15 at the beginning of the show, character-wise, not actress-wise. She goes to school with some friends, and she's been hiding the secret that she and her family are all Wolfbloods. And then this boy comes to town named Ridian. Welsh name, but not Welsh. Cute little ongoing joke. And he is a Wolfblood, but he is in the foster care system, so he has no idea what he is and why he is or anything. So she kind of, at first she doesn't like him, and then she helps him out. So, oh yeah, did I mention there's spoilers in this? There's spoilers in this. So, yeah, look at me being all on top of things. So yeah, so Ridian is a great character. He, is kind of learning things hands-on, but at the same time he's been transforming longer than Maddie, so he's like, wait, so do I know more about this than you? And she's like, So there's a lot of interesting interactions and how they deal with what they are, how they deal with the human world, how the human world tries to find out who they are, and all of the hijinks that ensue. When asked by a friend, so what's it about? And I kind of went into the explanation. They just kind of gave me this look of just give me a quick little, I would call it Teen Wolf if it didn't have plot holes and bad writing. Oh, was that mean? I'm actually going to do Teen Wolf one of these full moons. Don't know which one yet. I actually like the show in spite of itself, if that makes any sense. So yeah, so this is interesting. They transform into full wolves. They have human form and wolf form, and that's how I like my wolves. That's how I like my weres. I prefer it to, you have one way of it, you have another way of it. You are both man, you are beast, but not this like hybrid, thing that I'm constantly told is, the original lore, but I don't care. I like what I like. So a little bit about actual lore. So werewolves, generally speaking, most lore started in Europe and kind of, folk tales and stories, and definitely not a lot of writing until later on. But one thing I'd like to bring up, one of my favorite lores is actually Irish lore. And after that, me being Irish and all, half Irish. So the Irish werewolf is different from its European cousins, lore-wise, as it's not a monster. Unlike the continental cousins, this shapeshifter is a guardian, protector of children, wounded men, and lost persons. According to some ancient sources, the Irish werewolves were even recruited by kings in time of war. Now, this is actually something I've come across in many versions of stories I've either seen in shows or read in books. I love lore. Sometimes it's hard to get the information I'm looking for, but it is well documented that stories are told that kings in Ireland, medieval and pre-medieval, had werewolves fought for them. So that I always found very interesting. So yeah, so there's no kings or medievalness in Wolfblood, but I always like to throw in the lore I know and what I dig, so you get an idea of why I watch what I watch. So back to Wolf's Blood, it's a great show. They have great lore that a lot of it, has its roots in actual European lore, but a lot of it has its roots. It doesn't have roots. It's its own made-up lore. And I actually find that really fun and interesting. Eolas is one of the abilities that they have, where they can become so one with nature that they can look well past sight, go through everything to see, a person or a thing that they're looking for in nature. It has its downsides. Electricity will make them pass out. It's not good. It actually reminded me of the Dresden Files a little bit, because wizardry and electricity don't go well together. So it's an interesting thing to see, why these wolves respond certain ways to certain things, and why they, have these gifts and how they tap into them. And also what I found interesting is some of them can't do it anymore. It's like, I've gone so long being, humanized, that I lost my ability to touch into certain parts of my werewolf self. So that I find very fascinating. The issues that they tackle that I would have never thought to tackle. It's like, there's so many things that they do in this show while keeping it so grounded in, we're people trying to survive, and we're just keeping on, and the world is changing around us. And that's a big metaphor for society as a whole, is that, we're changing, but individually, we kind of, lag behind sometimes, and it takes a lot of help. We all have to help each other. It takes a village. I say it takes a pack, but that's me. So I recommend it. I give it 2 big solid thumbs up. I give it a howl. There we go. Oh, there's my howl. There's my howl of the night. I have to howl at the moon. It's a full moon tomorrow. Speaking of, it is a very special moon tomorrow. Tomorrow is a lunar eclipse. It's not only a lunar eclipse, it's a lunar eclipse that will be a blood moon as well. So there's all kinds of interesting things happening. I don't know how many of you are watching this tonight. I kind of hope some of you do, because check it out. I mean, it starts 3 in the morning, but you know, the climax is around 6:30. Between 6:30 and 7:30 is when they are calculating the climax of the lunar eclipse. I think that it is a fascinating thing how our worlds work. And I think it's great that NASA is going to be having its own live stream talking about web chat with a stream of the eclipse. I'm not sure where they're shooting from, but the chat begins at 3 a.m. Eastern time. ET. It doesn't say Eastern Standard Time. It just says ET. So I don't know if that's Eastern time or not. Ooh, I should probably look that up. So it starts around 3 a.m. and they have a live chat. And they also have a thing that says, ask a scientist to stay up for me. So that way, you know, you can go back and look at it. So I'm providing links below, you know, if you want to see what NASA has to offer. Also, Coca-Cola Space Science Center at the Columbus University in Georgia has its own sky watching webcast with its own live feed, also beginning around 3:30 actually a.m. It also says ET. I'm kind of really hoping that's just Eastern time. There's a few other people that have their own live streams going on. You can definitely check that out. I will be providing a few links below, things you can check out and see. But you know, you can do a Google search and you know, look up the virtual telescopic project, the virtual telescope project, which, you know, astronomers around the world, you know, share their pictures and experiences, and that's really fascinating. And science, science. So please check some of those out. Even if you didn't catch this in time, you can check out a lot of those links, and they'll have, you know, looking back or highlights, you know. Also, ask a scientist to stay up for me. I'm certain that they'll have some interesting things to provide for us. I can't stay up all night. It's making me cry because I really want to, but I promised that I go places and do things with people. People! Humans, man! Humans! That's what I'm telling you. It's what... So anyway, I will be looking at the watching back. I actually do plan on waking up at 6 a.m. just to go see, and then go right back to bed. So please check it out. Check out Wolfblood. Check out anything that has to do with werewolves. I probably approve of it. There's very little I don't approve of when it comes to werewolves. No, that's not true. Actually, I had this conversation with somebody when I was talking about what we're going to review in Crazy for Cult reviews. There's not a lot of werewolf movies I like. They're just not good, generally speaking. So TV shows do a little bit better. Books are great. And I'm definitely going to be reviewing books next month, next full moon. I'm not sure when it is, but you can look in a calendar and see what the next full moon is. And that's when I'll be doing this and talking to you. So how will I end? Will I end with a howl? Will I end with a whimper? No, I'll just end with, you know, friendly little stay safe and follow the stars home. And always make sure you don't go roaming around on a full moon.